Is this the end of the MCU, or is it the fantastic start to a brand new franchise? That's right, friends. I am the man you may know as Z, and I'm going to do a review of the Thunderbolts, Asterix, / the new Avengers. I know it's a couple days later, but I just got out of the theater. I wanted to give you my thoughts as I came out and wanted to get my thoughts sorted here. So what I'm going to do is tell you what I liked, tell you what I didn't like, and then I'll get into spoilers as I go through the plot a little bit and just dissect what was going on here. If you know anything about the channel, I have reviewed every single MCU thing ever. I watched all of Miss Marvel. I watched all of Echo. And I reviewed all of it. So if you want to catch any of those, I have plenty of MCU rants up here. But I guess I would consider myself an MCU fan, even though I'm a reviewer of it. But what we have here, this is interesting. This is the most MCU, not MCU movie I have ever seen, which is a good thing, I think. First of all, why would you... The marketing in this is schizophrenic, not a good idea. I think they're scared, they're nervous, they don't know what to do. I suspect there were some rewrites in this movie, some edits, some things that were taken out or changed. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. It's probably the best one that I've seen since... it's hard to say, but probably since Endgame, you know? Everything else, like the Marvels is terrible. I just saw Captain America 4 was terrible. So at least this was vaguely coherent. Now the plot, which I will get into, had to do a lot of heavy lifting to get a lot of people into a lot of places, which is some of its weaknesses. So, you know, for you to understand where everybody is in the universe and how they got there, there's a lot of coincidences that have to happen. So I didn't really like that part of it. Overall, the performances were extremely solid. There were some like slight tweaks to personalities that I didn't like. For one, they made John Walker dumber than he was before, which is kind of stupid and unfortunate. I don't really know why they did that. He was a highly competent soldier, and then they made him like a dope and kind of a jerk. And I think that's where the movie comes down to on some level. I was expecting Suicide Squad, and I did not get Suicide Squad. I got something completely different, which I think is great. I didn't want to see Suicide Squad again, and this is a very, very different take on it. Even though it's very similar, you have this like team of anti-heroes. You have a female character running them. So Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in this, who you may have seen at the end of a bunch of other movies, like not a bunch of them, but you've seen her a handful of times. She definitely speaks to Florence Pugh at the end of something. I don't remember what. It might have been Black Widow. Anyway, she's like the anti-Waller, right? She's Waller, but not Waller. It's kind of weird because she's more of a public official. So, but overall, the performance, Florence Pugh was great. I thought her dad, David Harbour, was good. It was as usual. It had MCU comedic moments, but it wasn't burdened by that, and it did handle some dark material, and it wasn't like something terrible happens, here's a laugh, something terrible happens, they didn't do any of that stuff. They really kind of let you sit with some of the terrible repercussions of things that were happening, or just in general, some of the darkness. Is one of the darker MCU movies too. There was a handful of curses, which I was surprised at too. They dropped the S-bomb like 3 or 4 times, which I was a little shocked by. Ghost was fine. I like the actress, but basically non-existent. And Bucky's always good. I do like him. He didn't have much of a character arc. This really is Florence Pugh's movie. Although I will say it was a little too long. There's a little too much setup and a little bit too much Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It was basically her movie for the first half of the movie. It's her perspective, and her assistant, who I also thought was great. I really liked her too. So for the most part, the acting was fantastic. The one character that I'm not super duper thrilled with was Bob, and I'm not going to spoil who Bob is, but Bob was supposed to be played by Steven Yeun, a much better actor. This guy was okay, but he kind of felt out of the movie because he played it, instead of being like insecure I mean, he was insecure, but he was more of a doofus than anything else. And I think they leaned too hard into that, where I think Steven Yeun could have grounded the character a little bit more. And I really think that would have gone a lot further. But in case you didn't hear, I feel very strongly that Steven Yeun, the fantastic actor from Walking Dead and from Invincible, was threatened by Simu Liu because Simu Liu said, there could be no more Asian superheroes other than me, or I will beat you to death, Steven Yeun. And he even might have said that I'll send the Yakuza against you. I don't know. Just a rumor I heard that Simu Liu will refuse any more Asian lead superhero characters, except for Marvel's Katie. She's allowed. So anyway, you heard that here first, folks. So Steven Yeun backs off out of this role. So let's just take a quick look at the tomato score, and then I'll break down the plot a little bit, and we'll get into spoilers, because the big reveal is the name change, which is absolutely bizarre to me. Why they would do this, I do not understand, because I guess, like I said, they're afraid. They're afraid of what they have here, because it didn't perform as well as they wanted. So let's take a look here. Thunderbolts. We have a big fat... This is crazy. The reviewers, with 280 reviewers in, 88%, 94% on the fan side. I mean, the fans have been clamoring for a good movie for a long time. Let me just blow this up a little bit for us so we can see it. And I just feel like the fans that are left are like, oh my God, finally a movie that was decent. You know, and a serious Marvel movie. Let's get into the plot. So essentially, there's a couple of weird parts of this, because there's a lot of bait and switch on this, especially, like I said, the asterisks, which you now know. Spoilers from here on, because we're going to talk about the plot. They're the new Avengers. So recently they unveiled, we're into our second weekend, and we're not quite the second weekend, but we're pushing into it. And the new marketing is they're releasing it as the new Avengers, because people are not buying Thunderbolts. They think Thunderbolts is a garbage squad of Suicide Squad redux, as I did. And I'm someone who even knows somewhat about the comics. I know that people are mad that Baron Zemo is not the head of the Thunderbolts like he's supposed to be. In fact, this is a huge departure from the comic books. So there's a handful of people who are just like, they're rewriting things, doing things different again. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to see this. And so what it says is, a team of antiheroes, Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, Red Guardian, Ghost, Taskmaster, and John Walker, find themselves in a death trap. So essentially, it starts with Yelena. She's depressed because she just doesn't know. She has no purpose to her life. She just does missions, hurts people, and then rinse and repeat. And it's a little ridiculous in the beginning because she's beating like 8 or 9 guys, and she's just a human. I know she's a specialized soldier, but come on, she's a little girl, and she's beating up like 8 or 9 security, like military guys. Come on, people. And what ends up happening is she gets sent on a mission after she talks to her dad again, who's like trying to console her. And she finds out that the mission is... It's for Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, the Countess de whatever. I don't know the name of her character. It's too many words. And they try to correct you on it so that I can remember it, but of course I know. Oh, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, right? So what happens is they go into this vault where they have to get rid of somebody who's trying to steal from her or whatever. But it turns out that everybody's there together. All the characters get together, which is completely bizarre. So it's like Yelena has to get rid of Ghost. Ghost has to kill John Walker. And Taskmaster is there trying to kill Yelena. Except Taskmaster is immediately killed and then never seen from again. That seems like a rewrite to me. Probably because they didn't want too many strong whammon characters. Because this movie sits on that tipping point of too many strong whammons. There's a part where Ghost and Yelena are basically yelling at John Walker. And this is where I didn't like that part with John Walker, where they made him seem like he's stupid. And they just keep yelling at him, telling him basically, shut up, you're dummy. So I didn't like that part. But again, once you get past that, they kind of move on beyond that, where they're like, oh, he's actually competent and not a jerk. I mean, he's sort of a jerk. And then essentially, they find an extra character who's in there, and that's Bob. Well, Bob turns out to be an experiment that the Countess wanted to get rid of, which is the Sentry Project. The Sentry Project is like they're trying to make Superman. So then everybody ends up getting scattered. They get scattered out. And this is the part where I don't like the conveniences of everybody had to be somewhere. They made Bucky a congressman or whatever for no reason, just so that he could have some reason to be involved in the plot here. And then it's the same thing with David Harbour. David Harbour has a limo service so that he could somehow track down Yelena in the middle of the desert to find her and help her escape so they could just put the team together. So that whole initial part's really clunky where they're putting all this team together. But once it gets past that, it gets fine. There's some good action scenes where they have to fight, they're fighting some soldiers, and then eventually they have to confront Sentry. Sentry commits and decides that he's going to be a hero and he's going to use his power. Now, how he learned how to use his power so quickly, I don't really know, but it doesn't matter. He's essentially Superman. Superman doesn't have to be that skilled to figure out what to do. He can just beat people up. And then eventually they use a kill switch on Sentry, which triggers his... In the comic books, I think he's really bi. He's got like multiple personalities or schizophrenic or something where he has another personality, which is the Void. So he's either Superman or the Void, which just destroys everything. Because, Marvel had to have a Superman, but they wanted to do a twist on it. And he just starts blipping people out. And they decide to go inside of his mind and take him out. Here's one of the plot holes that I didn't like. They talked about like going through his darkest memories. And his darkest memory ends up being... him being experimented on and like blipping these people into his like nightmare where he keeps everybody in these like terrible most terrible moments in their lives. There's a part where Valentina says something about the worst moment in his life, and she's like, "I know about your dad," and he gets real angry and gets like, it's a real subtle moment, but he gets real angry, and they never show that moment exactly what happened there. So I was a little confused as to why they didn't show that, like some of his terrible memories, why things were so awful for him that he was a drug addict. They do show him on meth at one point, which is fine. So this is a very dark movie. There's a lot of darkness in it. I thought the funniest part is they solve everything with a group hug. A hug, the power of hugs compels you. So there's not like a sky beam. It's just darkness now. Instead of a giant sky beam, there's giant darkness. And... they solve it through a group hug, which is way different from any other Marvel movie that I've ever seen. So I kind of actually like that. I thought that was kind of funny. And people who say that they knew where the movie was going is kind of ridiculous. Because I don't think anybody really did. And then on top of that, I thought this was interesting at the very end. And there are post-credit scenes, which are awesome. I definitely recommend. They're great. Some of my favorites that I've seen in a very long time. That connect to the story. They're not just like throwaways. And this is the end of it. They want to get Valentina. They're going to go get her and arrest her and take her in. Well, she tricks them into seeing the press and introducing them as the new Avengers, which is something that Waller from DC, from the Suicide Squad, would never do. She would never do that. That's way too conniving for her. She's far more direct. She would just rather kill them than have to deal with them as celebrities. So I thought that was kind of an interesting turn. I don't know so much about character arcs. Like, all Yelena needed was her family back and like a new group to help her through her problems or whatever. Like, I thought it was going to be the power of sex that compelled Bob back. Like, I thought she was like, she doesn't have any superpowers, but she was going to sex him up and make him feel good. But that never happened either. So... I was a little confused by the end there, what that looked like. But overall, like I said, very good movie. I haven't quite decided where I think it fits. Personally, I think I'd give it like an 86, maybe an 83. There's some things I didn't like about it. Like I said, the clunkiness. But overall, the performances were very strong. I don't mind Florence Pugh, although they do make a joke about her being ugly. And she is dirty and not very attractive in this, which is kind of weird. But overall, I thought it was pretty darn good. A little disappointed in the performance of Bob. I don't really know why Bob still needs to be around, but because Sentry is not even like that cool. Like I think Steven Yeun might have made a cooler Sentry. So it's a shame. The mismarketing on this, just it's I don't know. You tell me. Do you think this buries the MCU? I think they're gonna have to make some drastic changes. The post-credit scene introduces the Fantastic Four from another universe, so we know how that's all gonna connect. And these guys don't have the powers to stop anybody. They're a decent team, but they're not stopping a god unless Sentry comes out, and Sentry's too scared of bringing out the Void. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. I would love to, I read every single comment, so I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about it. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Are you waiting for your group hug? We can give you a group hug if you come hang out with us on Friday nights, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll enjoy yourself. It'll feel like a group hug. You could also help us out, support the channel. Give us one of these things, like notifications, bells, whistles, touch my bells and whistles, hug my bells and whistles. And you can join the channel. We have exclusive content, exclusive reactions, all sorts of fun stuff that you can check out exclusively if you join as a member, which you could do for as little as $1. Just help us out, help us grow the channel. We do appreciate it. Love all y'all, but I'm on to the next one.
Thanks for catching the video. Be sure to join our channel to get the education you deserve. Make sure you check out our shorts, live streams, and catch us on all the socials. Don't forget to like and